Welcome to my office slash studio. This side might look incredibly messy, but I promise there's a lot of practicality to it. I get a lot of shit done over here. This side looks really pretty, and that's because when I'm ready to make content, I want it to look good. And everything here is set up so that it's easy to create as soon as I'm ready to create. So I have, for instance, all of my lights on a remote control system, and it also happens to be voice activated. So I don't have to go find the remote. I can just tell it to turn on and it will turn on and off. There's a lot of other practical things here, but the main thing is having an ecosystem, which thanks to Amaran for sponsoring this video and also being the reason the ecosystem works. More on that in just a minute. Starting with the background. If the background looks nice, it is super easy to make it look even cooler with lighting and camera angles and everything like that. Having a good background is important. So I did design this one specifically to look really good on camera, which is something I do not just obviously for myself, but I also help lots of people all over the world set up studios. I've flown out, I've done it virtually. If you want to know more about that, or if you have a studio you're setting up, link is in the description for consultation. Boom. But I also have a whole video that showed how I did this whole entire design, setup, everything you could possibly want to know. And yes, David here is an critical piece of the studio, along with the barrel. Anyway, this is fun. Moving on to the side of the room, we're gonna start here. This is a very important light. This is a tube light. It's an Amaran T4C. Technically does bicolor and RGB. It's on a battery, and I stuck some tripod feet or monopod feet on the bottom of it so that I can move it around, say over here, over there, anywhere that I want. The reason for that is I use it as an edge light, and the edge light is gonna hit the edge of me right now so that I look really good. But if it was like a product or something like that, or whatever I'm working on, I can just move it and get it there instead of having to fight cords and stuff. When I'm not using it for B-roll in this center area, I usually have it right about here so that when I'm sitting here at my desk with the camera and everything, this is my talking head setup and where I do consultations, it actually provides an edge light for me when I'm sitting here. So it's handy that it's on a battery. I do have to charge it every once in a while, but being mobile is far more important to me. Next, I want to point out this right here. This is my gear cart, and this is where I store all of my excess gear or just, you know, cables, batteries, doohickeys, and it stays out of the way. This is a small one. I have a whole video I did on this one just showing how useful it is. I do love it. I've had it for several years. So gear cart. Totally recommend everyone having one. Oh, while I'm here, this right here is the Amaran 300C with the Amaran Spotlight SE. And I have this because, well, the video is sponsored by Amaran, sure, but because everybody's been asking me for like a solid year or so to review it, talk about it. So there's gonna be a whole video coming out on this. I'm just playing around with it right now. Clearly, see it's on the wall looking cool. Anyway, so I thought I'd mention that there's a video coming out on that soon. Here behind me, obviously, is a shelf. It's for all the gear or boxes and stuff that I've acquired over 5 years, I guess, 6 years of work. A lot of grip gear, a lot of things for rigging up lights. This is my B-roll camera. I keep it on a tripod system because I want to move it around to get my shots. And this is the Canon R5 beast of a camera with an RF 28-70 on it. I've got myself a monitor so I can see myself or whatever I'm doing, make sure there's focus. Everything runs off of a battery. This is something I've talked about many times, is I run the camera and the monitor off of just one big V-mount battery. And it's not too heavy, so I can get it around and get what I need to done. The idea is that everything is mobile, including this big key light right here. This one is on wheels. I roll it around so I can use it for B-roll, get my shot, do whatever I need. And so the ability to move the camera, this light, the edge light are super critical. And that also means that I'm often working with lav mics, which is what I'm wearing right now. My preferred lav mic is a DJI lav mic, but there are plenty of others. I have the Rodes. I haven't tested them out very much yet, so gotta work on that. So moving on to the desk area, this is obviously where I spend a lot of time. I edit my videos, script them. Down here, it's kind of hard to see, but that is where my camera is. That's my A-roll setup. So that's the Canon R50 with an 18-35. I have a 5% mist filter from Moment on there. This is an Atomos Ninja, so I can see my shot a lot easier. I can record on this if I would like to. So this camera is attached to a variable pole back here. key light is as well. This Varipole is a tension rod, essentially, that goes floor to ceiling so that I can attach the camera, the light, or whatever else I want. This is 2 inches off of the wall, so I don't have to attach to the wall. It's damage-free, as long as you install it properly, of course. So this allows me to keep the desk, the camera, everything really close to the wall. It's all about a foot away. I do have a whole video covering how I mounted the camera onto the Varipole, so go ahead and check that out afterwards. For audio, I have here this adjustable arm by Rode. It's the PSA 1 Plus. And then I have the Rode NTG5. I've had that one for, I think, 5 years. It's a great microphone. I like it. And I just reposition it or whatever I need when I'm getting audio or doing my video calls and consultations here at the desk. Now, speaking of audio, I do have a sound panel here on the wall, and then this blue piece down here underneath the laptop. That is also what I'm using to just help absorb some of the sound because there's a desk. The voice will reflect a lot. So I'm trying to minimize that as much as possible to get a good sound. And then with enough EQ and editing, I can make my voice sound really good. When it comes to the desk, this is a standing desk, so I can have it stand up if I would like. I do primarily use it sitting down, but I do adjust it a lot, so that's been great. I have an armrest so that when I'm editing, my arm doesn't fall off and I don't get hurt all the time. A nice ergonomic mouse goes a long way. Everything I'm mentioning, I'm just gonna link down in the description so that if you're interested in it or you see it in the video, hopefully you can find it there. Oh, I should point out, this audio is hooked up to the computer, so I can use it to do voice recordings or on my calls. I'm using this is a Scarlett audio interface. The thing I'm most known for on this channel is lighting, and I would say lighting is always the most important thing. So my key light here is the Amaran 60X. I do have the Amaran Light Dome Mini SE on it. It's been working great. I do really enjoy it, but this key light isn't the only light. I'm going to show you how each one is super important to this space, but let me show you where they're located. Besides the movable edge light, there are 2 other lights that I'm using. They're up here. I use another Varipole to have these out of the way at all times. This one right here is the Amaran T2C. This is my hair light. I have it adjusted so that it's pointed at me. The reason why there's not a grid on this side is because I actually want some of this light to spill onto the background in this particular area, just because it needed a little extra, because this right here is my background light. This is the Amaran P60C. This does a really good job. It has the softbox on it of kind of spreading the light all over the background, but this helps just fill in a little bit on this side where I wanted some more. So these lights have been up on the Varipole for about 2 to almost 3 years now. They've held up great. I've never had an issue with them. It goes to show you how easy it is to have a Varipole because they keep the lights out of the way, cables are out of the way, and because everything is on my voice-activated, remote-controlled system, I never have to go up there and tinker with them after I've set them up that one time. They just stay there and they're always ready to go. They turn on, and I'm using them. Now, on the off chance that I want to play around with them, have the color temperature changed, use RGB, have them brighter or dimmer, I can actually do that with Amaran's new app. They have a whole app just for Amaran now, which is simpler to use and has a lot of features. But my favorite part of it is that it actually has the app available now on the computer. So there's a desktop version. Here I have it pulled up on my laptop. And if you look at that light right there, I'm actually gonna play around with it really quick. So right now I've just chosen it to be green. I can pick blue, pink. And now if I wanna go to just bicolor, there it is, 3000 Kelvin. I can just turn it off if I don't want it on anymore, turn it back on. And I can do the same with all of my other lights right here. So I can turn it on, off, just like that. But what's even more cool about the new Amaran ecosystem with the app is that everything can be now controlled from the Stream Deck. So I'm gonna show you that. I'm gonna do a quick tutorial for you because I think it's super cool and it's something I've been waiting for a long time, especially when it comes to live streaming or in my case, consultation calls, video recording, whatever, because I can change my lights, turn them on and off with just the Stream Deck, the app. I don't have to pull out my phone and reconnect them. They're just kind of always ready to go. And I can easily get to it, click, click, click. So awesome. So this is how I look when I do my talking head setup. And using the Amaran app, I'm going to show you how all of these lights can be controlled really easily, but also how important each one is. So I'm going to start by turning them all off. So this is what my studio looks like with just a little bit of natural window light and then these 2 practical lights in the background. Now I'm going to turn on the key light. Obviously, this one's pretty important. It lights me up the most, but as you can see, it doesn't really reach the background. So you can't really see anything else that's happening. My hair, you can't really see. So I want to show you the importance of a hair light next, which is this one right here. So as you can see, my hair now stands out. It hits across my shoulders a little bit. So I'm standing out. And as you can see, it does hit the back wall a little bit. Remember what I said about not having the grid on half of it? It's just so that that light can hit back there a little bit more. But obviously it doesn't do anything crazy. Now I want to show you what the edge light is going to do. So that's this one. See how it hits on my arm right here? Gives me just some nice definition on the side of the face, the arm. Now, of course, if I move the placement of the light, it changes how it looks on me. So let me show you how that looks. So I moved it further back. It's showing up in the shot now, but now you can see that it's just hitting very little of my face, but it gives a nice outline. So that's why I like the edge light a lot. It's because it helps separate. And if you've got some nice arm muscles, then of course it shows them off a little bit. Now I'm going to turn on the background light like so. And as you can see, this one makes a pretty big difference between, you know, not seeing the background, it looking completely black, and knowing that it's blue. Now I have it placed where the light's a little bit more right here, and that's because I do have a lot of things going on in the background, and I didn't want it to be a perfect swash across. I want to see little bits of the background, so it just has some contrast. And then if I wanted to, I could go ahead and throw the 300C in there just to have a little fun, turn it on, turn it off, whatever I want. Now if I wanted to play around with this one just a little bit more, this is where we can see all of that the Amaran app has to offer. So we can go ahead and change the color temperature of this light really quickly, or we can get a different color like this. What's really awesome is that this Stream Deck can control my light. So for instance, I can have it turn off the light, turn on the light. I can even have it change it to a pre-selected color if I would like. Let's say you're a streamer, you have your Stream Deck ready to go. When something happens on your live stream, you can hit a button and let's say it plays an effect so that, you know, it's very interactive, so to speak. So this is something I've been waiting a long time for, to have control via Stream Deck, but also just on the computer in a really easy integrated fashion where I can control my lights, I can turn them on, I can turn them off, and that way when I'm talking to people or I'm in a live stream, I have full control over my lights at any given time. This is the beauty of having all Amaran lights, which by the way, before this video was even sponsored, I pretty much had entirely Amaran lights just for this reason, because they all work in the app. I can control each and every single one of them, and I don't have to worry about going into a different app for a different light. Sometimes creativity does not look clean, organized, or wonderful. I left this purposely the way it pretty much always looks. My desk setup is pretty much always this messy, if not messier. I wanted to make sure that you understand that studios can look like this, that they look kind of haphazard, and then they sometimes also look nice, what you've seen on the other side of the camera. And that's normal. It's normal to have a setup that gets things done, and getting things done isn't always minimal and everything has a little perfect spot. Sometimes it looks like this. It looks like stuff. Use the links in the description if you're looking for something specific that I've mentioned. Also, try out the new Amaran app. And if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, see you next time.